Hey, B. It's JamiThatsMe here. Listen, you know I'm not talking. I'm not talking unless you're giving me likes, you commenting, and you're subscribing. You hear me? Thank you. Now, listen, we are down here to talk about Real Housewives, all right? More so, really, Potomac and ATL, all right? That's what we're here to chat about. Now, first of all, for the people that do not know, they're saying that Real Housewives of Potomac is now filming, all right? They were supposed to start filming, I believe, at the end of March. Guess they got pushed back. Maybe some changes of some sort happened aside from just Miss Karen Huger going off to prison. But all right, or jail, whichever one she's at. But they are now starting to film. Some news came out to let us know that Jassy will not be a part of the upcoming season. Jazzy did come out and she pretty much said, there's so much talk, conversation around whether she's going to be on the show, whether she's not going to be on the show. She didn't really confirm or deny, but she just said we'll be really surprised and shocked to see, what show we'll see her connected to. I kind of hope, I'm still hopeful that we will see her on Real Housewives of Potomac. I know some people may not have cared for Jassy. Some people didn't really get the opportunity to truly get to know Jassy, in my personal opinion. Of course, there was the drama with the baby mama and Jassy's, husband or soon to be husband, as well as her. And, I feel like that was a missed opportunity for Bravo. And I don't know, maybe they could have told her we don't want you because you sat down with Carlos King and you gave all the tea to them when you should have given the tea to us. I don't know the circumstances surrounding it, but I feel like there's still something there that we could learn about Jassy, her husband, and that entire dynamic and how they are moving forward or going to move forward as a family now that she will officially be his wife. So that would be some good stuff. They've also alluded to Miss Candiace Dillard returning. That has not been confirmed. People believe that because we ended up seeing a post of Candiace posted up in the NBC Universal offices or whatever like that. She had a meeting that day, but what that meeting was about, we don't know. Hell, we could end up seeing Candiace on Traders or something. So a lot of people wanted to say that Candiace was fired. All right. But I don't think that she was fired. I think she indeed took a step back, and we did see that she was pregnant and she gave birth to that baby boy last year. And obviously she still has a good relationship with the network for her to be able to go on and have whatever meeting that she's having, but we don't know if it's tied to Potomac, but the people are rumoring that, and that has not been confirmed. Now, who else they have been putting out there in the rumor mill is Miss Monique Samuels. You guys know she was a part of Real Housewives of Potomac at once upon a time. She got into it with Miss Candiace Dillard, unfortunately. She said that she was invited back. A lot of us believe she was fired, but she said she was invited back. And at this point, I didn't believe Monique was brought back. But at the same time, considering how Bravo picks and choose, like people that do things that they don't want to bring back, I mean, it's possible she could have been invited back, right? Because I could just go on a tangent about Bravo, and I'm over here reflecting on Kenya Moore's actions and her not being invited back. Whereas there have been plenty of times where, other cast members were assaulted by other people and they still invited them back. They may have made threats at other people. They were invited back. So, I mean, I don't know. I really think that Bravo keeps who they like. And if they don't like you and they tired of you, bitch, you got to go. Period. That's just what it is. But all in all, Monique was on the show. She got into an altercation with Candiace. Eventually, she left that show. She went over to Love and Marriage DC. That didn't work out for her. A lot of her fans kind of turned on her. And that's pretty much what it was. Shortly after doing Love and Marriage DC, she had some issues with her marriage that eventually led, well, she already always had those issues, but it eventually led to her separation from her husband. They are now divorced. She's living as a single woman. Miss Monique Samuels was a part of a radio station that she abruptly left. Not sure the speculations about that. I've heard things, but I just don't know. But she's continuing to sell her essential oils and things, and people decided to come down there and bother Miss Monique while she's minding her damn business to say, hey, Monique is returning to Real Housewives of Potomac. And you had all these people that was super excited on Twitter. And I said, baby, I already know that's a lie. Monique done told y'all in more than one interview that she has no desire for reality TV at this particular time. I know that's dead. Okay, especially now that she is a single woman and she probably dating around or whatever. She probably don't want y'all all in her tea like that. I promise you that's a lie. Well, guess what? I was right. So shout out to my boo over here at Reality Chat, because they were able to capture what needed to be captured. Okay, and what was captured was it's going around on Twitter saying you're coming back to Potomac for season 10. Is that true? And she says, not true, boo. Not true, boo. I will not be back. So whatever lies and whoever came down there to tell you those lies, tell them to take it back. Take it back, because I won't be there. Period. Don't let these folks get you hyped up and psyched out like I'm really gonna be there when you know I'm not. So that is what Monique had to say. All right. So that she shut that down. And I wanted to make sure I talked about it here for the people that did not know. And if you happen to see it, know that it's the lies. The lies, the lies, the lies. It has been shut down. Monique will not be returning to Real Housewives of Potomac. Do I see Monique returning in the future? Potentially. But then again, she's talked so much SHI about that network. Well, I ain't gonna say, I just feel like Monique hasn't had a great experience in reality TV. There may have been moments, but I don't think it's best for her. So at this point, I do think reality TV may have turned her off. You know, she had a lot of things to say about, Carlos King and his production and working with Love and Marriage DC and stuff. So if Monique were to do a reality show, I think she's going to want like full control over it. Like it probably would be her own damn production company on some Shawnee O'Neal type stuff, okay? In my personal, if she were to do reality TV again, I think it would have to be in the capacity of a Shawnee O'Neal, to where she can kind of like control, have more control in things, right? Now, granted, Shawnee O'Neal does not have the end all be all when it comes to production and producing and certain stuff. But then I do feel like she has what she has to say carries weight over there. Definitely believe that. So all in all, Monique would need that, but she's not going to be returning to Potomac anymore. All right, she's doing just fine, especially as her kiddos are getting older. That's a lot to manage, right? And she probably just don't want to be out there and them seeing certain stories or whatever about their mama. So it is what it is. We wish Monique the best, whatever it is she decides to do. And speaking of Potomac, y'all know we got to go ahead and slide over here to Andy Cohen, because he plays a very instrumental role in all of the housewives. All right, and they were able to catch him out and about, honey, but they're not talking to him about Potomac. They should have, and maybe they asked him more questions, but it didn't look like it. It looks like he was coming out of a location and they caught Andy right outside as he was getting ready to get in the car. Now, here's my thing, TMZ. How y'all be finding these folks? Because I'm starting to believe that some of these celebs be calling y'all and telling y'all, like, hey, I'll be over here at this place. Meet me over there. I do believe that's true. I don't know if that's a situation for Andy, but either way, they caught up with him. They wanted to ask him about Kenya Moore being invited and then uninvited to the season 16 Real Housewives of Atlanta reunion. So let us check out what he had to say over here. Let's get into it.
Andy, we have to ask you, now listen, Kenya says she was invited and then uninvited to the reunion. How true is this?
I have to watch her whole, I haven't watched her post yet.
Okay.
But
is that true? Is that part true?
We'll talk about it.
Oh my goodness, Andy. Well, okay, is she coming back? Fans want her back, so what's the deal?
I love her. I love her. Listen, there is so much more of this season left, and it is so good. Phaedra comes on in like 5 weeks. It is a jam, and you are gonna love it. And so right now, I'm kind of focusing on the rest of the season.
So not Kenya.
What?
So you're not focusing on Kenya, whether she's coming back?
I'm focusing on the show.
Okay, so when you watch that confessional, let us know.
Okay.
Well, it looks like you were trying to say that she was invited and then uninvited.
That's what it looks like I was trying to say?
Kinda. You were like,
I don't know. Hopefully.
You're trying
I love her. I'll tell you that much.
So he says he loves Kenya. He'll tell you that much. What I'm starting to think is, when he says we'll talk about it, it kind of makes me question if Kenya will be getting a sit down similar to Vanderpump Rules, when there's been so much conversation, about, y'all know, but when the two cast members was hunching on each other, but it was just a mess, okay? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Tom Sandoval and old girl. what's her name? Rocky or something like that. I can't remember. It started with Raquel, whatever. Anywho, child. They had a sit down like with the entire cast, it seemed, more so with Tom and her, like on like a one-on-one situation, and then they went into the reunion. Now I heard rumors that Kenya was offered to do a special, to which she declined or something, and I'm like, I don't know how true that is, and I don't know if Kenya would have actually declined such an offer, because it would have given her the opportunity to tell her side of it from a on the network's platform. So why would she turn that down, even if it wasn't an opportunity to be at the reunion? So when I hear Andy say something like, oh, we'll talk about it, it kind of makes me think she might have a sit down similar to Robin. Once the season was completely over, I think even after the reunion had run its course, they went and had a sit down with Robin on that show, and she went on to be fired even after that. So I feel like that same thing could potentially happen for Kenya. Possibly. I will say I don't want it to happen if we're going to get the same exact thing that we got when she sat down during her confessionals. If she sat down during her confessionals, and a lot of what she said, in all honesty, wasn't much different from what we've already heard from other people. Commentators, people we've seen on Twitter. It wasn't much different. I mean, she may give us a little something. What I liked the most, and I probably said this previously, but I really liked the accountability that she took, the acknowledgement, knowing that what she did was wrong, because honestly, what Kenya did was not right. Okay, like I told y'all, I'm here for BIT being exposed. Expose her when it comes to reality shows. I'm here for it. Like, expose her. But I think there's a way to go about doing that, and I don't think Kenya did that the right way. I do think that what she did was wrong. And that does not justify Miss Edie's actions either, because I don't think that she was right in what she did either. Because if you standing around and you say that SHI, you can get arrested. If you're talking about pistols, this, that, and the other, people have gotten arrested for terroristic threats for saying less. Hello, for saying less. Okay, for saying, okay, just saying less. They've gotten. So to think that, oh, well, she didn't die. She didn't, threaten her directly. She just said, I got pistols, whips, girl, arrest. You can still get locked the hell up. Okay, you still could get charged a piece. So all in all, not saying either situation was a good situation, but Kenya, had she handled things a bit differently, I think that had she handled things a bit differently, she would still be on the show. Even if she would have exposed Brit in a different way, by not even showing images, but highlighting the fact that she is a webcam girl. You have a history of, being a thought or whatever it was. She could have just did a better job at that. And I appreciate Kenya being in her video, taking ownership and saying, I am where I am because of my own actions. And I'm like, bitch, you ain't never lied. You really are. Yes, you are. Hey, that's all you, fam. That's why, for me, I'm like, Brit, you didn't get Kenya up off the show. Kenya got herself up off that show because of her own actions. All right. But speaking of Kenya and the entire situation with Miss Edie, and I'll be honest, I'm slowly getting tired of talking about them. Just a little piece. I'm like, okay, let's move past this Kenya situation and stuff. Let's see, because it seems like Miss Edie gonna have some other issues going on with this cast, and it ain't just Kenya. All right. But I want to get into Candiace Dillard, all right, of Real Housewives of Potomac, where they asked her, she was doing a live, and some of the fans got in the comments and they wanted to know exactly how she felt about this Kenya situation. And I want us to check out what Miss Candiace had to say. So let us hop back over here to Twitter so that we can see what is being said, all right?
Did Kenya go too far? I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think she did. And I know there's been a lot of discourse surrounding the Kenya of it all. Mm-hmm. I think that Kenya, and people have a lot to say about Kenya in general. Even in my own family, we've had arguments about this in my own house, okay? So I may, I know my opinion may not be popular.
That's funny. We've had arguments about this in my own house. That means that either Chris is in disagreement or her mama, possibly their sister, is in disagreement.
However, worse has been done. Is my phone overheating? Yes. Worse, I'm putting it by the vent so it doesn't overheat. Worse has happened. Worse has been done. Worse has been done. And we've not seen the consequences, or the consequences have not been as harsh. So I just think it's unfortunate.
Very.
I think it sucks because Kenya is a staple in the Bravo sphere. I think she's a face. She's a face of the network and paved the way for a lot of us as a black woman on Bravo. And you know, people have so much to say about her and that she's this and she's that and she's whatever. I have always had positive experiences with Kenya. I've always heard other people have had positive experiences with her. I worked with her. She's a doll. She's a pleasure to work with. She's professional. She's kind. I just think, you know, as they say, you mess with the bull, you get the horns. And
sheesh.
I do believe, well, it's not even a matter of what I believe. We heard that there was a threat made. And I have a hard time with people trying to justify how someone responds to threats or how someone responds in general. You can't police how I respond or how other people respond to disrespect. You know, because we have to start at the beginning. And the beginning is not with Kenya. And I've seen enough of the clips from this season to know that Kenya was peaceful. And I know there are, like I said, I know my opinion may not be popular. That's okay. I just think that if you wanted to punish her, there were other ways to do that. And it did not require removing her from the platform in its entirety. When we have watched other housewives do worse.
All right. So that is what Miss Candiace had to say. You know, as I'm listening to her talk, it kind of made me question, like, is she coming back? I feel like she may not be coming back to Potomac. Because I feel like when it comes to conversations like this, and being that y'all may be dealing with the same production company, one might not want to give their true thoughts on a matter in an effort to maintain their relationship with the network, right? So when I hear that, it kind of makes me think maybe she's not going to be returning back to the show. But also I feel like I agree with some things that Miss Candiace said. I feel like it's okay to be a fan of Kenya, and if you feel like what she did wasn't right, then that's fine to say. I've enjoyed Kenya, but she just could have did that so much better, and I've said that countless of times. I do agree with the fact that, you know, you can't piss a person off and then tell them how mad to get. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happened. Okay, I felt like it was giving poking the bear a bit. Okay, every episode is some SHI. Every episode is some SHI, and then she got ready to fire that ass up, and that's what happened. And I think it's unfortunate it did take it, a bit too far. I saw people in the comments, they were, highlighting, Candiace pulling out a knife on Ashley. Like, well, based on your logic, then I guess it's okay with this, that, and the situation, and the Monique situation, and this, and that. And, I loved what Candiace said, was like, let's start at the beginning. Because when Candiace and Monique got into it, a lot of people didn't want to start at the beginning, and people really just wanted to start with, oh, well, you said drag me, Monique, can you put your hand in her face, and did she drug you, and this and that? And, it was difficult to have those conversations with people when they're not trying to see your point. Because my thing was always Monique was wrong from the beginning. They only wanted to start with the fight that took place. No, let's start at the beginning. The anger was towards the wrong person to begin with. Okay, the wrong person. You took your mismanagement of anger out on the wrong person. Be mad at who you really mad at, boo. But all in all, you know, it is what it is. And I feel like once somebody kick you out of their house and then you proceed to come back in there, I do feel like that's trespassing. You know, we get into these body cam videos where, you know, we watch where people no longer want somebody on the premises and the person is like not trying to leave or whatever. Like at that point, baby, you are trespassing. If they call the cops and say, I want them trespassed off my property, that's what it is. So I do justify her putting out that butter knife like, you need to get the hell out of my house. You being disrespectful. Like, you need to go. You need to go. And Giselle brought that lady back in her house. But anywho, child, that was good times over there at Potomac. But all in all, you know, those are Candiace's thoughts, and that's just how she feels. She's standing in support of Kenya, as many, many other people are standing in support of her. And there are a lot of people that feel like what she did was absolutely not wrong, because this is the culture that Real Housewives has cultivated and allowed people to do. And then now that you've allowed people to operate in such a manner, you have producers that are there to assist them in performing certain acts such as this. And then as soon as they do, you decide that you want to moonwalk and backpedal and release them from their contracts or whatever, but you still want to utilize them in their moment to get your show popping or whatever the case is. So it's definitely a mess all across the board. If Kenya does want to return to this show, I really hate to say it, and I know we shouldn't be over here walking on our tiptoes, but that's kind of what it may give a little bit. All right. It's unfortunate that if you stick up for yourself and you're being honest and you feel like, hey, listen, like I don't think what I did was that bad because of this, that, and the other, you should be able to do that and potentially keep your job. But unfortunately, she don't work like that. Okay, they're gonna definitely label you as difficult, this, that, and the other. So I think she just needs to really sit down and see, is this a platform I want to continue to be a part of? If not, say what you gotta say what you want to say, and then move the hell on. Okay, but you guys leave your thoughts and comments down below. All right, let me know how you're feeling about everything that Candiace had to say. Andy, what did you guys interpret from what Andy had to say? Do you think there'll be a sit down coming, or do you think Andy was just running his mouth, not really saying much about what's what? He did say he loves Kenya, though, despite Kenya kind of calling out a little bit of the BS. He still says that he loves Kenya. At least she ain't going no rant calling a man out for doing alleged drugs or whatever. So maybe she still could repair that relationship with Andy, should it be fractured just a bit. And also let me know your thoughts about people putting Monique's name in the mess. Talk about she coming back to Potomac, knowing motherfucking well you lying. You know, I don't see how people just create lies. I just don't know. Like, I was listening to something about like Kendrick and Drake, and I can't even remember. I think they tried to say Kendrick canceled his show because of this, that, and the other, and the show still went on that night. It's like, how do y'all feel comfortable where y'all just create lies and just put it out? Like, it's just weird, but good luck. Okay, that's all I got for you guys at this time. Leave your thoughts and comments down below. Of course, I'm Jami, that's me, and you know I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.
Yeah, tell him I preach to the choir. Stand with my feet to the fire. Give all the glory to God. Stand in the midst of these haters, I'm silent, nobody can stop me. Just gotta check in my notification, them numbers hit like it's a praxis. Cashed out at the ATM, and the ATL, they done made a gym. I've been kicking doors like the ATF, got them trying to clone me like Agent Smith. Game time, I invaded gym, high elevated, I can face the rim. Putting shots up, I got laser focus, about to take it over, I'm Invader Zim. On a trip to Florida like it's A&M. Who that nigga, man, they say I'm him. Spit the truth, never wasting film, I can feel the pool, we gon' make them swim, nigga.